What I'm using for this complete dinner recipe are 2 packages of fresh chicken backs. It comes to just $3 and a couple of pennies to have a complete dinner. And the rice, brown rice, and then I'm gonna saute. The rice is gonna be cooked in the stock from the chicken. No cubes, no canned crap. This is fresh stock. And that's the only thing that you should use when you're making a recipe where you need chicken stock. Unless you just can't get a hold of any bones like this. Anyway, I will start in a few minutes. So in here, I'm just going to put a half a teaspoon of ground thyme. Ground bay leaves, and a teaspoon of ground thyme. Why am I doing that? The thyme, because I'm lazy and I don't feel like picking out the leaves, and the ground bay leaves, I don't have to pick out the leaves, and the ground thyme, so I don't have to look at the fresh or the dry leaves in there. That's just because I'm lazy. And you can see I put about 2 inches of water over the bones. And going to put in two teaspoons of sea salt. And that's it. Bring that to a boil, and then simmer it for about an hour. And then after that, I'll take the stock and make the rice. The rice is going to have sauteed vegetables in it, so I don't have to put any in here. And I'm going to pick all the meat off the bone, and we'll see how much I get. I know it's enough for one person, possibly 2. So an hour has passed, and if you notice, since you simmer it with a tight lid, it doesn't reduce that much. So we're going to take all of this chicken back pieces out, and when they're just a little bit warm, I'll pull the meat off. And then we'll go about finishing up the dish. Now you can take all the stock, pour it into a couple of quart containers, allow the fat to go to the top, which only takes a couple of minutes, skim that off, then you don't have any fat, unless you want to have a little of the fat for flavor. So that takes care of that. So 3 quarts is what you should get. If you have less, you might add some water to it to bring it up to 3 quarts, because this is plenty strong. You see this one, I skimmed off the grease. And then it only sits here for 2 minutes, 3 minutes. You skim off the grease. See that fat? Now if you want to save the fat and use it for sauteing, of course you can. But I'm not. And the other thing I use to strain it is a chinois like this. All the little particles off the bones, they're not in there. Now we're on. This is what I put my olive oil in. A little extra virgin olive oil in there. Sweat this up. I'll use a wooden spoon so I don't make noise. Every time I go like this, it annoys people. But when you're cooking by yourself in the house, you don't pay attention to that. But you can hear it over the computer. So I tap on my finger. And I have something else in here, which I'm going to put in there. And this is my homemade tomato sauce, which I leave in the freezer and then take out what I need. So we're going to what you should know about this recipe, as you can see, there is nothing from canned goods. Everything is fresh. Fresh chicken, the rice, this homemade tomato sauce. So there are no chemicals in anything here. But it takes a little more work. But if you wanted to, you can replace the fresh chicken broth with your favorite chicken. The only one I would use would be College Inn, after tasting all of the others. Or, if you want to spend the money, you can buy Miner's bases. That's what most of the major hotels and fine restaurants use, just to top off a sauce that they have made, or a soup. Anyway, that's the lowdown. I just wet this up a little bit. And then in a few minutes I'm going to pick the meat off the bone and see how much I have. And this was, I think, a half a cup of brown rice. Use your favorite rice, but I like brown rice because they say it's the healthiest of the rices, I think. I could be wrong, but anyway. Now we take this and we add. Now this I'm going to put on the lowest flame, simmer it. I don't want this to reduce and then find out the rice isn't cooked. You notice I didn't put any salt or pepper. You can put salt, but I'm not going to do it, because I don't want salt in my, but if I were putting salt in there, put a half a teaspoon. Anyway, that takes care of that. I'm going to come back in like 15 minutes and check on it. This is the last 1, 2, 3, 4 items we are adding to that. That's 1 pound and 6 of meat peeled off, which a little bit of it I nibbled on. And there's the fresh corn and fresh parsley that I'm going to mix into that. I'll add some hot sauce to it, or pepper. I'm just adding some black pepper. I like black pepper. If you don't like it, don't use it. Use the amount that you want. Now this is enough for like 2 people that don't pile food on their plates, but eat a normal portion. That's what this is. So this is enough for 2. Now let's see how it looks.